Welcome to This Must Be Heard, a recurring podcast featuring discussions of Delaware County Community College's events, achievements, and initiatives. Today, Alex Johnson talks with our guest, Professor Liz Gray, about the College-Wide Reading Program. Thank you for listening.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of This Must Be Heard. My name is Alex, and we're going to be talking about the College-Wide Reading Program in this episode, and I'm so excited because we have Professor Liz Gray here with us. Liz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Alex. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today.
All right.
I'm an associate professor of English and the faculty fellow for College-Wide Reading.
So we're just going to dive right on in, Liz, if you don't mind. Can you just briefly explain what the College-Wide Reading Program is?
Absolutely. So it has kind of gone through several different names and different homes of the institution, but it actually began in 2003 out of an initiative in the reading department. And now we are housed in the Center for Teaching Excellence. But essentially, it is a year's worth of programming around a chosen theme. So you'll have the book itself, but also events and tie-ins that happen around that book, that year's choice for the academic year.
And what is the 2021 book?
We are doing About Us this year, which is essays from the Disability series of the New York Times, and it is co-edited by Peter Catapano and Rosemary Garland Thompson. And our theme for the year is disability and ableism. So we're both having conversations around definition and identity tied to the term disability, but as well thinking about the ways in which our society really only frames conversations around disability in perhaps one way, which is looking at it through the eyes of somebody who may be able-bodied and not experiencing disability.
That is so great. I love it. So I heard that you've already picked the theme for next year as well. Is this true?
Yes, so we have a committee that works on picking the themes each year. And this year we decided that the most important thing to talk about next year is race and race relations in the United States. So we are, usually the way the process works is that the committee picks a theme and then we solicit nominations from the entire college community. So anyone with a P number can submit a nomination. And then the committee considers all the nominations, and usually we have kind of 2 rounds where we narrow things down for the coming year. But that's kind of where we are right now, is that we've announced the theme and we are soliciting nominations.
All right. Well, listeners, that's a shout out to you. If you have any suggestions, right, for a book about race or race relations, where can they submit those? Where can they find?
Yeah, we have a link to a form on the public website, dccc.edu, where if you just search College-Wide Reading nomination, it will come up. And like I said, you do need to give some identifying information so that we know that you are a college community member, but the nomination itself is not really tied to you. The nominations are considered anonymously.
Great. Oh, that's so great. I'm already excited for the next years. So how can students and professors get involved right now? Are you guys having events? Are there other ways to get involved? Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with students. And of course, this year is a different type of experience than we have had in past years, but we are still trying to make those virtual connections. And one of the things that we're doing this year is a series of film discussions. So we had the first one in October around Crip Camp, which is a documentary from Netflix. And then we have another one coming up in November, and then we'll have 2 more in the spring. So the one in November is called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly, and it's going to be run by Professor David Robson, who is our film language professor. One of the things that we try and do with each of these conversations is not only tie it back to the theme, but also kind of think about different ways in which we can talk about these films. And like I said, The Diving Bell and the Butterfly is kind of an arty film. It's subtitled, and so we're hoping to talk about it as an example of a story of disability, a disability narrative, but also as a very interesting film. We're hoping for some other visits from people tied to our book for this year, And we'll have our faculty book talks in the spring, which is something that we've been doing every year as well. So stay tuned. Usually I send out information in email, but I've also been trying to post announcements in Canvas as things come up.
That sounds so fun. I don't know which one I'd rather go to more.
Yeah, and for students as well, we are having some contests this year. We're having a multimedia response contest in the fall and a written response contest in the spring. I think I also mentioned, or I said that I would come back to ways in which professors can get involved. So the College-Wide Reading Program produces materials that are then shared to the Canvas Commons. And the goal here is just to make it really easy to integrate the book into your courses. So you can go and pull those things down from the Canvas Commons and edit them and use them directly in your classes with your students.
That's so great. Now, do the students need to have already read the book to attend these, or is this kind of to just bring more people in to the program itself?
That's a great question. It sometimes helps to read the book, but it is not required for every single event. And I would say specifically for the film discussions, it is important that you stream the film on your own before attending the discussion. You'll have a much better sense of what it is we're all talking about. But no, it is not required that you have read the entire book. And in particular, this year's choice is a nice one for that because it is a series of essays, and I think it's like 67 essays, and they're each between 2 and 3 pages. It's really easy to just kind of dip in and read what you would like to read as kind of little selections. You don't have to read it cover to cover. Nobody's expecting that. So don't worry about that.
Now, Liz, do you have any maybe favorite memories of events or books that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. Now, I kind of always feel badly mentioning my favorite child as the parent of this program, right? But still, the events that kind of stick out in my mind, I would say the culminating event we had for Just Mercy in spring of 2017 was with, 2018 was with Anthony Ray Hinton, whose story was featured in the book by Brian Stevenson. He was maybe not the main character traced throughout the book, but as you know, if you've seen the film, he was on death row at the same time as Walter. He was actually on death row for a whole 30 years for a crime that he did not commit. And he came to DCCC right around the time that he was promoting his own memoir, which is called The Sun Does Shine. I was very excited, to see after a few weeks after he was at DCCC that Oprah picked his book for her book club. So I like to say we had him first, right?
Oprah's got nothing on us.
Exactly. She was just following us. And it was a wonderful event. And he is just a gracious human being. And I very much recommend his book as well.
Yeah, when you first started explaining that, I actually got chills.
Yeah, well, it just, like I said, it was a really wonderful day.
Oh, that's so great. Let's wrap up right there.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. I hope you guys tune in for another episode. Again, my name is Alex, and I'm with Professor Liz Gray, and we just talked about the College-Wide Reading Program. So please tune in next time.
You've been listening to This Must Be Heard, brought to you by the New Media Lab in Campus Life. Tashia White was our director and executive producer. Today's host and producer was Alex Johnson. Our guest today was Professor Liz Gray. My name is Courtney Jackson, your announcer for this episode. Our production team also included Samuel Larson, Victoria Colbreth, and Indigo Frazier. If you have an interest in participating in the New Media Lab, email us at nml@mail.dccc.edu. Thanks again for listening.